Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. Last night in her native Costa Rica, former champion Valle saw herself become a champion once again opposite the ring Elizabeth Lopez, who she had already beat on one occasion. Given Senicia Estrada's abrupt retirement from the sport, all the alphabet titles she held in the minimum weight division have since gone vacant and are being redistributed. Thus, Yokasta was in position to pick one up, having already rebounded off the loss to Senicia earlier this year with Ramandeep Kaur, who she stopped, who she knocked out, and given her previous accolades, everything that she's already done up until this point, Yokasta was in a pole position to see herself crowned a champion at this weight once again, advancing to a professional record of 32 wins with 3 losses, no draws, 10 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 35 professional bouts. In the absence of Senicia Estrada, Yokasta really is the best in show at this weight, so I have no complaints and no aversion to Yokasta picking up an alphabet title so soon after she lost to Senicia. This was Yokasta's 3rd fight of this year. She fought Senicia in March, rebounded off the loss in July, and racked up another win last night. The virtue of keeping an active schedule. The sooner you get back out there, the sooner you can put distance between yourself and a loss. The sooner you can get in position to fight for a title again. That's what Yokasta did. She's on a 2-fight winning streak now. 2 fights since having lost to Senicia Estrada, finishing this year off on a high, off a win. Say it all the time, it's never a good idea for fighters to sit on a loss for too long and just let it fester as time progresses. The longer it takes you to come back, the more difficult it's going to be to get back in the winner's bracket. And I have no doubts that Yokasta has every intention of picking up the other 3 alphabet titles at this weight. It appears that via the WBA and the IBF, Yokasta Valle and Australia's own Louisa Houghton, veteran fighter Louisa Houghton, Lulu Houghton, they're ranked at number 1 and number 2. And it's conceivable that if Yokasta can get Louisa in the ring, their fight could be for 3 of the 4 major titles at this weight. Could break down one of 2 ways. Maybe Louisa Houghton schedules herself a fight and picks one or both of those alphabet titles up against some other girl, or Yokasta faces her straight away, faces her early next year for those 2 vacant titles. Yokasta Valle is the only fighter at this weight with a major promotional outfit behind her, and that gives her leverage over virtually every other woman in this division. Yokasta is her own promoter. She promotes her own shows in Costa Rica that draw good-sized crowds, and here in America, she's backed by Golden Boy. And thus, based on the lay of the land, it looks like she might have to go through Lulu Houghton for both the WBA and IBF titles. Now, for the WBO, it's a little different. Via the WBO, Yokasta is ranked at number 1, and America's own Yadira Bustillos is ranked at number 2. I've seen Yadira Bustillos in action. I saw her against Sarah Borman. I've seen her 1 or 2 times since then, and I like what I see in this fighter. Young, well-schooled, well-rounded, good dimensions for this weight. Could one day campaign as a light flyweight. She's good. And it's looking like if Yokasta wants the WBO title, she's gonna have to go through Yadira in order to get it. It's the lay of the land. In the absence of Senicia Estrada, Yokasta really is the best in show, and as stated, she's got leverage over these other girls. She's got leverage over virtually every other woman in this division because she's the only one among them with a major promotional outfit boxing on a major platform. That is the means and the money to make things happen. With this victory and picking up the newly vacated WBC title, based on her track record so far, Yokastia will be reintegrated into the Ring IQ pound-for-pound list, and she's a very accomplished fighter. I don't think people realize that she's already been a champion at 3 weights and already been a champion more than once at this one.
She's got a strong resume, too.
So she will be ranked in accordance with those statistics in retrospect with her other contemporaries, the other women on the Ring IQ pound-for-pound list, but there is yet another contest we have to get through before those updates are made official. Tonight's fight between Gabby Fundora and Gabriela Alaniz. Whoever wins that fight, they're going to make the list too.
They're going to be undisputed.
Congratulations to Yokastia. In super flyweight news, you might have heard earlier today that the IBF has struck again and stripped former unified champion, unbeaten Fernando Martinez of Argentina ahead of what is to be his rematch with Kazuto Ioka at the end of this year.
It's what they do.
The sequel, which has not yet been confirmed, was intended to be a unification bout. Martinez, 17-0 with 9 KOs, claimed the WBA title from Ioka in July, but is overdue for an IBF mandatory title defense. Top contender, Willibaldo Garcia, 22-5 with 13 KOs, is now expected to face Rene Calixto, 23-0 with 9 KOs, for the vacant title in Japan this December.
Those names don't sound Japanese.
Really doesn't matter if they are or they aren't, as Japan is the premier boxing market for a super flyweight, and that has long been the case. I mean, the guys at the lighter weights, you know, those divisions, they're populated with a lot of Japanese fighters.
So this would be the second alphabet title in the super flyweight division that has changed hands in the last couple of months. We know that Kosei Tanaka,
he lost his WBO title to Fumilela Kafu.
No, Fernando Martinez has lost his IBF. The IBF had previously granted the 33-year-old Martinez exceptions, including for his July bout with Ioka, but has now enforced its mandatory requirements. Martinez won the title in February of 2022 by defeating then-champion Jerwin Ancajas and has made 3 defenses since. Garcia, 34, has never fought at 12-round level and has not competed against a world-class opponent since he was outpointed over 10 by Paul Butler in 2021.
Willibaldo Garcia, who will be facing unbeaten Rene Calixto. And so, once again, there will be 4 reigning world champions in the super flyweight division. This division's best bet of seeing unification matches happen in a timely fashion would have to come in the form of Bam Rodriguez, who's going to be boxing next week on Saturday in Philly against Guevara on the undercard of Boots Ennis' next fight.
Bam, more so than others.
Not just because Bam is with Matchroom, and Matchroom is one of the bigger promotional outfits in the sport of boxing, but because His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh seems to have taken interest in Bam and wants to bring him to Saudi for a February show. But against who? We don't know. Now, you figure that it can't be against the winner of Garcia versus Calixto, because Garcia versus Calixto is set to go down in December.
It's too quick a turnaround for February.
And it's the same with the Martinez versus Ioka rematch. That's also supposed to go down in December, on New Year's Eve.
It's too quick a turnaround for February.
One guy who might be available is newly crowned WBO champion Fumilela Kafu, who will have had all of November and all of December to recuperate from the fight with Kosei Tanaka and can begin preparations for a fight with Bam in January.
So that they can have the fight in February. I think Bam needs to do this.
Bam is America's stake at the lighter weights. Bam will be exposed to an audience that doesn't otherwise take in super flyweights and super flyweight action when he boxes on Boots' undercard. You know, Americans historically don't watch the lighter weights, but they will be able to take stock of him next weekend.
Unifications.
And the need for an undisputed run is accented by Japan's own Naoya Inoue. A big part of the reason he's now achieving so much notoriety that is traveling to the West is his undisputed run at bantamweight, his more recent run at super bantamweight. This is how Bam can get some of that same press. Unified a super flyweight division. There hasn't been an undisputed champion at super flyweight, I don't think.
I can't name one off the top of my head, and I know with some certainty that one was not crowned in the 4-belt era, the one that we're in. So if Bam can be the first to do this, that's worth something.
You get Fumalei Lakafu in the ring in February. You proceed to get the winner of Garcia versus Calixto sometime over the summer months.
Or the winner of Ioka versus Martinez, whichever comes first.
Then you cap off the year with the last remaining champion, whoever it is, that within the next 12 months or so, Bam can see himself become an undisputed champion like an Naoya Inoue.
And that's worth something.
About the IBF, getting back to their old ways and being strict and stringent when it comes to their mandatories. This is a sanctioning body that stripped anyone from Tyson Fury to Canelo Alvarez, Canelo 2 times, Gennady Golovkin,
Joe Cordina,
Jayo Pataya. It's what they do. It's what they're known for.
Fernando's just the latest guy.
Being honest, I didn't even know that Fernando was overdue to satisfy a mandatory challenger, so him being stripped was somewhat unexpected, but not surprising. Not surprising because it's the IBF. That's what they do. That's what they're known for.
If that makes sense.
And so they've added a step to the unification process, the undisputed process, that crowning an undisputed champion in this division that has had a lot of activity, it's proven elusive, quite elusive over time, that it hasn't happened yet where it's already happened in so many other weight classes.
But not here.
I feel like Bam is the right man for the job. I feel like Bam is the guy who can do it. He can unify this division and give it its first undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. We'll see if he does. And finally, in men's heavyweight news, unbeaten up-and-comer Moses Itauma said, Anthony Joshua's defeat affected the gym like someone had died.
Perhaps not someone, but something. All hope that Anthony Joshua was getting it together and on the cusp of making history, becoming a 3-time heavyweight champion, the hope that that could happen would happen. I think that's what died.
Anthony Joshua's defeat to Daniel Dubois affected those at the Ben Davison Performance Center like someone had died. According to Moses Ituelma, the 35-year-old Joshua was, in September, stopped by Dubois in 5 unexpectedly one-sided and dramatic rounds, at the very least stalling the revival of his career that his trainer Ben Davison was considered to have overseen. Joshua had impressed under Davison in victories over Otto Wallin and Francis Ngannou, and in so doing further enhanced Davison's reputation at a time when Joshua's decision to recruit him had already provided a lift to those also at his gym. The talented Ituelma, widely considered among Joshua's successors towards the very top of the heavyweight division, has perhaps benefited by observing him while they have used the same facilities. And after his return to the gym in preparation for his fight on December 21st with Dempsey Mckean, found it to be suffering as a consequence of Joshua's defeat. Fabio Vordley, another heavyweight, was by then preparing for the rematch with Frazier Clark in October that he won with Davison in his corner. But the 19-year-old Ituelma told Boxing Scene, the first week, the gym was like someone had died. But I'm happy that it's like that, because if we got back in the gym and Davison's lovey-dovey happy cheering,
if rainbows were shooting out of his ass and Skittles were falling out of his mouth,
AJ just got knocked out and you're here so happy.
The somber tone was in keeping with the decorum and what had just happened.
The gym vibe. In the middle of the pads, I went and said, Ben, you've got to liven this up. There's other people in this gym. He was like, yeah, I know, mate, but it's just... And it's kind of the energy I want. If that's me, getting knocked out, I don't really want people to go to the gym and be happy. I want that. Not passion, but that commitment from my trainer. If he came to the gym and was all happy, it'd show how much commitment he's got.
Or how much he doesn't.
That AJ lost, but they lost as a team, and Ben Davison is feeling it too. Ituelma had been asked about the criticism of Ben Davison in the aftermath of Dubois versus Joshua when he had said so, and he also intriguingly said, I know a few things, but it's not my place to speak on it. Ben Davison's a great trainer, and in time, it shall show how good of a trainer he really is.
Sounds like a roundabout way of saying don't blame Ben for what happened. There was more going on there.
It's just typical boxing though, isn't it? Even AJ, everyone's calling him X, Y, and Z because he's had that one loss. People are forgetting what he's done for British boxing. Before AJ, the boxing scene was dead, and he's revived it. People are always going to talk. They're always going to have something to say. It's just doing the best for you and your family and your circle. AJ didn't really have to take that fight. And like he said, he took a shot at greatness and came up short. With me, with this fight, I'm not deluded. I do believe I'm going to go in there and knock him out, but there's a possibility that could happen to me. I just train and hope that that's not me.
Dempsey Mckean, big guy, southpaw, moves well. It's a live animal for Moses Itauma, so early in his career.
Itauma in July stopped Marius Valle before taking the holiday his manager Francis Warren and his promoter Francis Father Frank wanted. In his first 19 months as a pro prize fighter, he had fought 10 times, but after traveling to the Paris Olympics, Cyprus, and Spain, with the satisfaction of knowing that he had recorded 10 victories, he revealed that he became agitated because of his desperation to return to the ring. "I'd done everything I wanted to do," he said ahead of the fight with Mckean of Australia. "On the undercard of Usyk vs. Fury 2 at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi, I went to the Olympics, went to Cyprus, went to Spain a couple of times, went back home to Kent in England to see the family. I went everywhere, pretty much. I did have a good holiday."
But did you get some pussy?
When I was out in Spain, I was thinking, I can't wait to get back in the gym. I'm actually tired of this. So yeah, I needed it. When I've taken a break from boxing, I've realized how much I needed it. It's addictive. I just can't be the one sitting around not doing nothing. I have to do something. When I came back from my holiday, I was eager to get back into the gym. Enjoying my life's not really for me, because I don't really deserve to enjoy it yet. I need to make an impact on boxing first. Not even boxing, in people's lives. I was calling him out, so when Dempsey Mckean was like, "Okay, we're gonna give you the fight," I'm like, yeah, let's crack on. Let's not waste no time.
This is a very different tune from the one that we saw America's own Jared Anderson singing before he lost to Martin Piccoli, whining about the pressure, reduced to tears.
And saying stuff like he's not really in boxing for the long haul, he just wants to make his money and get out.
See, I didn't find that encouraging. This that we're hearing from Moses, that's what you want to hear. A kid who wants to be there. A kid who wants to fight.
Because if you're not hungry now, in this early stage of your career, you ain't gonna be hungry later. Wasn't just him. I called out Dempsey Mckean, David Adelaide, Solomon Dakers. I called out everyone. Obviously, Mckean said, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So we're here now. It don't bother me at the end of the day. I go in there and fight. That's my job. Making fights happen is not my job. I just leave that down to my team. Maybe they, those potential opponents, have got to make their money's worth. Boxing's my job. I get in the ring and fight. Whatever happens outside the ring, that's not down to me. Let's say I fight Johnny Fisher in a year or so. I couldn't care less about the titles. It's just me and Johnny. The two English heavyweights coming up. We have to fight. Title or no title. Maybe I am coming up. Maybe I'm not. I don't care. I just want to get in the ring.
Yeah!
Maybe I do want Daniel Dubois. Not because of his titles, but because he's the heavyweight on the British scene. He's number one. He's seen as the best. And I want that. I'm not bothered about the titles and X, Y, and Z, because you've got to look at these rankings. Some of these guys, I'm like, how are you even ranked? I'm not too bothered about the titles. I just want to be the best. Really, and I just want to make the best fights happen. Even with Dempsey Mckean, I'm pretty sure this is for the Commonwealth title. I'm really not too bothered. I just wanted to fight Dempsey. That's just how it is.
I like his attitude.
He's in the right place at the right time. It's the right time to be a British heavyweight in the heavyweight division.
Be facing a very crafty southpaw who can move in Dempsey Mckean, and I am curious to see how Moses Itauma fares. Is he biting off more than he can chew? Is something unexpected gonna happen to him?
We'll see.